Welcome to PowerPoint Activity 1, creating an interactive piano presentation. So for this particular activity, you are required to, number one, be able to experience how to extract files and compress files, as well as to be able to show hidden files from a folder as part of the competencies that you need to exhibit. You also have to download the PowerPoint Activity 1 Interactive Piano as a sample. It contains a file that actually shows you how the piano works, and also the hidden sound files that you will use for your own activity. So this is the process where you can actually extract the files from the compressed folder into a decompressed folder, and eventually also be able to show the hidden files from within that particular compressed folder. So in that compressed folder, you also have a sample file. This is a screenshot of the first slide, which allows you to play the keys in your keyboard. And you don't need to create the top part. All you need to do is to copy the existing keyboard from a previous exercise that you submitted and paste it towards into your new PowerPoint file, so that you don't need to create or spend time creating the keyboard yourself. So this is what you would like to have in the end. So you will have a keyboard that is linked to the sound files, which are hidden files in your folder, using the action button or the action option in your menu, and selecting a sound that would allow you to select other sounds and select the appropriate key sound for that box you have just highlighted. So eventually you'll be doing the same for all. So the key here is to use the action settings within your ribbon. Now you can do that basically on another view by again highlighting a particular key and then identifying the action, particularly playing the sound and looking for that sound, and then eventually probably it would also be good if you highlight the click so that it would appear if you have pressed the key, and then click OK to end. So you have to do that for all the keys, the ebony and the ivory keys. Now in the end, you need to also add some more items in your presentation. Particularly, you need to add your name, subject, section, date, and me as your teacher. And you have to put your picture here to show ownership, since this can easily be copied if you don't put your own information into the presentation. Now, alongside with that, if you're done, I would suggest that you also save the file as a PowerPoint show, aside from saving it as a regular PowerPoint presentation, and then eventually compress it using this particular diagram as a guide. So that particular file has to be compressed and saved as a send to, okay, compressed folder. So that's how you would be able to generate one single file out of all those files inside the folder. So you can now just submit one file that contains a lot of files inside. That's what we call a compressed file, or a zip file in this case. For additional learning, you need to answer the following reflection questions, like what other things can you do using this technique, like drums instead of keyboards, other musical instruments, or you can have sounds connected to certain objects like street signs, fruits, solar system, etc., etc. Now, for the purpose of demonstrating how this works, basically what you need to do is you need to be able to go to your existing PowerPoint or Word activity and be able to select the keyboard you just created before. So in doing so, you can select everything, including the base and the other keys, and then right click, copy it, and from here you can now open a new PowerPoint presentation, and from that presentation you can delete certain parts that you don't need. So let's assume that we're using a blank presentation, and then paste what you just copied, move it around so that it is positioned to where you exactly want it. Now, knowing that this is now your PowerPoint presentation, we will now be connecting it to the sound files. But before that, we said that you need to decompress, okay, the actual file that you just downloaded. So assuming that this is the file that was asked of you to download, so all you need to do is to right click and then open it. Okay, simply open it. Now, instead of using a software like PKZip or any zip file, what you can do is you can just drag this folder outside of the compressed folder, and what Windows does is it now copies everything to a regular folder. So this is your folder. Now, currently you're now seeing the hidden files, but typically if you don't see this hidden files, what you can do is you can go to Organize, then you can go to Folder and Search Options, and then select View, and then select Show Hidden Files. So this is the thing that you need to click, and then once you click on Apply, then you will be already able to see the other sound files that are inside that same folder. So this is the actual file, the demo file. So when you open that, so that's a little bit loud. So let's now, if you click on certain keys, okay, from the demo file, so notice that this particular presentation is actually playable. So if you want to be more experimental, you may want to use the trigger so that you'll have this effect where once you click on a key, it triggers another part of the presentation, but that's not really included in this requirement. So basically, what we would like to do now is to mimic this particular example. So let's go out of there. Now, since we already know that we have this particular folder where we can get all these sound files, now you have to play it by ear, okay, like by double clicking on a certain sound file to know how it sounds, okay, and then eventually try to fit it into our piano. Now, going back to the PowerPoint presentation, so remember that we want to connect the sound files to your actual presentation files. So to the actual keys in your presentation file. So we can do that by, number one, you can, for example, click on this particular file key, and then use the action settings. So insert action, and then we can select play sound and select like we don't want those, we want other sound, so that the folder can be identified where the sound file is. So currently I place it in my desktop, and so this is the folder that contains all the sound. So let's assume that that is let's say C sharp, okay, and then click on OK. So let's assume that that's C sharp. So what happens is that you can now click, highlight, click, so that when you click on that key, it reacts as if you have pressed it. So basically that's what you need to do. And when you click on OK and play the sound, Okay. Play the presentation. You already have one key that is playable. So you just have to do the rest of the. You just have to set the rest of the keys so that they would match the appropriate sound, so you can play your keyboard, the way you want to. So basically, that's how you do this. Now, the next thing is you need to include. By the way, you need to also include the black keys in the process so that all the keys are playable. Aside from inserting your picture somewhere here and then your other information here, then all you need to do then is to save this file as a PowerPoint show, because we want it to be playable without going inside PowerPoint. So we will just select PowerPoint show. So there you go. So when you click on that and change the name, so to whatever name that is prescribed by the activity, probably your last name, full name, last name and first name would be a good starting point. And probably you can say PowerPoint activity number 1. So whatever the prescribed file name is, just follow that. So when you're done, you'll click on save. But before that, make sure that you know where the file goes. So in my case, I'm going to put it in desktop. And based on the requirement, you also have to put it back together with you have to put it together with the folder you just extracted, so everything is there, including the sound file. So I'll just put it there. Currently, you're not seeing anything because that folder doesn't have a presentation yet. So when you click on save, so that PowerPoint presentation is already there. Now, assuming that we also want to save the presentation itself, not just the PowerPoint, and pointing at the same folder, like the compressed folder, save it. Now I have the following files. So if you look at our folder, you now have the demo, the PowerPoint show, and the actual PowerPoint, editable PowerPoint presentation. So when you double click on the show, it would automatically load your PowerPoint in show mode, and you can now start clicking on the key that you have assigned the sound to. So that's just basically the activity, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to complete this in a short span of time. Okay.